See none. So we will turn to the scriptures then. Book of Ecclesiastes this evening. Our first reading, chapter 4. Many times, things that are pretty serious, things that are extremely important, we like to be careful about how we do them, very cautious, very intent, to make sure that we are, with much concentration and much dedication, we focus on tasks to perform them with precision and accuracy when things are very, very important. Things are very, very life and death things we're very, very careful about. Make sure that they're right. And we want to confirm them. How many times do you hear of, have you done yourself, if you've been to a doctor and you get a bad diagnosis, the doctor tells you something really, really scary, really, really bad, what is a common, something you was unexpected to hear? What's a common practice? Nobody ever gets a second opinion here? We all just go with the okay, I'm dying. Count me off. You know, the doctor gives you all of a sudden terrible bad news, they want to do a very, very dangerous, very serious surgery procedure. It's common to get a second opinion, to follow up on it. And when you're doing something that's very important, it's common to have someone double check your work. Someone to follow along and to look over it if you're with those we use in school. And Kaylin has asked me lately, she's writing some reports for her senior year and for college level and everything. Dad, do you read this? No. Because I don't want to be the one that says, that looks good to me, and the teacher just tears her apart for having bad grammar. But Dad, you said it right. Don't trust my grammar, find someone better. You know, if it's important, you want it double checked. And how much more important do you get in your spiritual life? Is there anything any more important than your spiritual well-being? Think of the things that you double check. Think about the things you've had someone else say, hey, does this look right to you? Or, hey, double check this. Things that are life and death. How do you feel if you ever do sit and watch them put a new tire on your car? And if they have it up on the rack, they take their impact wrench, they zip, 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 zip around there, and they put it down and go. Are you happy and comfortable? Or do you like to see them get their torque wrench out? And you want them to take that torque wrench, and you want them to go around, you want them to check. You want everyone to check with that torque wrench to make sure it's all right, because it's a life and death situation, yours and many others. Spiritually speaking, everything is a life and death spiritually. Because the only thing that matters is our relationship with Christ. Everything we do, say, think, react to, respond to, everything about us is a reflection of our relationship with Christ. And I can tell you now, as your pastor, I need you double checking me. I need to be held accountable. And that's a word that we like to put on the others. I want to be the one that is on the accounting side. I want to be the one holding you accountable. But yet I need you holding me accountable. I need you double checking. We need each other. In Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 9. Common sense discussion here. 2 are better than 1, because they have a good reward for their labor. If you're working hard, we looked at Labor Sunday, if you would remember, and we're working hard together, ours, we're working together, and obviously 2, as a general rule of thumb, can do more than 1. Sometimes we get in each other's ways. But 2 can get more work done. Verse 10, for if they fall, so we're not just looking at productivity, we're looking at help and assistance. For if they fall, the one will lift up his fellow. But woe to him that is alone when he falleth, for he hath not another to help him up. And we easily should understand that today. Because we laugh and joke, and for many years has been the commercial, help, I've fallen and I can't get up. And it used to be really, really funny as a kid watching that commercial. Now it's not so funny. Because the people that are falling I'm more close to. You know, both with love and age, both. But and then it won't be long, so I'll be the one there crying, help, I've fallen and I can't get up. And it's no longer as funny as it used to be, help, I've fallen and I can't get up. But there's nothing funny about spiritually thinking and spiritually speaking, and the spiritual application behind help, I've fallen. And when you're spiritually alone, when you've fallen, you can't get up. We read often in the New Testament about helping one another up, ye which are spiritual restore one that is weak. But here, when we have fallen, have another to help us up. Verse 11, again, if two lie together, then they have heat. How can one be warm alone? For if one prevail against him, two shall withstand him. And then a threefold cord is not quickly broken. It goes on into vanities. But these 4 verses I want us to think about, we need one another. But in what aspect do we need one another? Do I need you to hold this for me while I work on it? Do I need you to do this so I don't have to? But what is one of the biggest ways I need you, but I don't want you? And that's the word I've already used, accountability. We need to realize we are accountable to each other. I need to be accountable to you, yet I don't want to be accountable to you because I live in my flesh. Who enjoys being held accountable? Who enjoys somebody looking over their shoulder? Who enjoys knowing that someone's going to double check their work? Again, maybe it's part of my job is double checking, looking over and holding people accountable to the work that they've got to be doing. I look at it that it can be too easy to think, well, this is my job to do. But yet I need to realize I need someone doing it to me. I need to be held accountable. If you want to lose weight, what's the whole point of my Weight Watchers? Kind of hold each other accountable, to be with one another, to have the support group. You know, Alcohol Anonymous, nicotine, I quit with the support group for addicting. In other ways, there's many things. There's a group together holding one another accountable. Make sure that you help each other. To be willing to have someone tell you, hey, that's not what you should be doing. We don't want someone pointing out, hey, that's not quite the way you need to be thinking. That's not quite what you should be doing. We don't want someone looking over our shoulder. I get mad, Elizabeth gets mad at me sometimes because I instinctively have a problem with someone reading over my shoulder. I find it very annoying. But yet it can come across as secret reading. If you're reading something, and she walks up and just kind of looks over my shoulder out of curiosity on her part, but it annoys me. But again, it can come across as, what are you looking at? I don't need to see. Nothing. You can look at it when I'm done. Just please not while I'm looking at it. But it can come across, remember accounting, if you don't want someone looking at what you're looking at, if you don't want someone holding you accountable for what you're doing, then by default, we must realize our spirit understands we're doing something we shouldn't be doing. We're thinking something we shouldn't be thinking. We're considering something we shouldn't be considering. We're influencing ourselves with things that we shouldn't be influencing ourselves with. Because if it's something that I wouldn't do in front of you, I don't need to be doing it at all. Amen? Not something I do with you, I don't need to be doing it at all. Think about it. Again, we need to realize the need of being held accountable. And realize also our fleshly instinct isn't going to be wanting to be held accountable. In Acts 18, one of the most beautiful examples in the Scriptures of support and help and correction, and I find, and I go to this often because it's easy to point out bad instances. It's easy to point out bad examples, and many of them I can point to my own experience where I have not responded in the manner that I should when someone was holding me accountable. But it's not just me that gets held accountable, which every one of us needs to be held accountable. We need to all be able to respond. That 3-cord broken, 3 cords not seen broken, we find in Acts 18 and verse 24. Apollos, ministering in Ephesus, says that a certain Jew named Apollos, born in Alexandria, an eloquent man and mighty in the Scriptures, came to Ephesus. This man was instructed in the way of the Lord, and being fervent in the Spirit, he spake and taught diligently the thing of the Lord, knowing only the baptism of John. And he began to speak boldly in the synagogue, whom when Aquila and Priscilla had heard, they took him unto them, and expounded unto him the way of God more perfectly. And when he was disposed to pass into Achaia, the brethren wrote, exhorting the disciples to receive him, who, when he was come, helped them much, which have believed through grace, for he might convince the Jews, and that publicly showing by the Scriptures that Jesus was Christ. So what do we read? Apollos was a man, mighty in the Scriptures. He wasn't just a little novice, he knew the Scriptures. He was mighty. Apollos was a man mighty in the Scriptures. He was the guest speaker at Ephesus here. He was the evangelist coming through to teach them things that they didn't know. He was instructed in the way of the Lord. He was very fervent in the Spirit. And he spake and he taught diligently the things that he knew. And he spoke boldly, it says in verse 26. But yet, I really like verse 26 latter part, because Aquila and Priscilla, they heard him. And they were holding him accountable for what he's preaching. And they expounded unto him the way of God more perfectly. And we don't find a dispute that rises up where they part ways like Paul and Barnabas did. You know, they didn't break their friendship. They didn't break this. It goes on in 28 that he was showing the Scriptures that Jesus was Christ. Convinced the Jews and publicly showing he learned. He grew. He accepted their correction, or he accepted their expounding. He accepted their teaching. He accepted them holding him accountable. It doesn't always work that way, does it? How many times have you had someone, when you're trying to help somebody, when you're trying to hold someone accountable for their well-being, for their best interest, you're trying to help someone, hold them accountable for their growth, and they don't take it so well? Well, I'm not in your head. Now flipping, how many times were you the one that someone tried to hold you accountable? That someone tried to show you that you needed something? Someone tried to show you that you had room for growth, and how did you respond to that? And the first thought we think, well, that's different. It's different. It's always different when you're on the other end, but it's not. If you're going to be holding someone accountable, then you must realize you have a need to be held accountable yourself. We need to be willing to accept correction, accept guidance, to accept the fact that we need somebody watching our back. We need that. I need that. You need that, whether you know it or not. This is, as I've already shared, this is one of those things that we all need, but we don't want. Because it's not joyful always to have somebody pointing out their mistakes. It's not joyful always because we want to slip off on our own. We want to get off and not have somebody watching our back. It's relaxing just to get away. Think about that whole thing. That annoys me sometimes, and it bothers me when I hear people say it and think it. And then I catch myself reciting the words, and I catch myself saying it, even though it annoys me when I hear others say it. I just want to get away. What is that supposed to mean when you just want to get away? What do you want to get away from? Are you want to get away from work? Well, you can do that at home. You can do that other places. I just want to get away. What do you want to get away from? Drama, stress? You need to be able to do that at home and in church. Be able to rest. Isn't that why we come together? To be able to rest, to get spiritual peace. Scripture bears out Sunday is the day of rest. The church body should be rest. We should accept His peace. We should be able to, everything that we want to obtain when we just want to get away. I just want to get away from this place for a while. Sometimes we just want to get away because we just want to let our hair down, right? Or grow hair or something. But you know, we just want to get away. We want to just relax. I just want to relax. What does that mean? How many times does it really mean you want to be somewhere where no one sees you, so you can do things that no one will see you do, so that you won't have to be held accountable, so no one will be watching you? You start being watched all the time. And guess what? You're not going to get away from God. And I preach that often in recent. He is seeing you at all times. And He uses the brethren to speak on His behalf. Amen? So a lot of times He's seeing us and He's having somebody else tell us, holding us accountable. I just want you to examine, what do you mean? I just want to get away for a while. It is good to get away. It's good to have relaxation. It's good to enjoy. It's good to be able to get away and not work and not stress. Just to be in a new environment. Not saying you never go away, it's good. But I want you to examine what do you mean sometimes. I just want to get away. Because when you ask people, and sometimes I do, and worldly people are much more honest than godly people. I challenge you that when it comes to this topic. Because, a churchy person or a church member or someone, what do you mean you want to get away? What do you want to do? Well, I want to rest. I want to study. I want to where a worldly person, I just want to get away. I want to just kick back. I want to eat, drink, and be merry. I want to enjoy. Whereas we know I can never consider that. That's my secret time. We must be realizing we need to be held accountable. Apollos accepted it. So often we do not. Proverbs 6, go back there again. Proverbs chapter 6. I want to start reading in verse 16. 21 is where I really wanted to go. But I want to read through some stuff to get there. And one of the things I want to read through is the 6 things that God hates. These 6 things that the Lord hates. These 7 are an abomination unto him. A proud look, a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood. A heart that deviseth wicked imaginations, feet that be swift and running to mischief, a false witness that speaketh lies, and he that soweth discord among brethren. 6 things God hates, the 7th one we find in the discord. These things we are important to be sure. This is something that you want to be very, very careful with. If you're having a high allergic reaction to something, you want to be sure that you're not around it. And you want to be sure that you want to double check and make sure it's not there. Well, God hates these things. He's not going to respond well to these things. Therefore, I should understand I need you. If you see me having a proud look, although I am accustomed to carrying a mirror around with me, I don't look at it often. This is for my work. I have to have a mirror to check for backdraft and water heaters. But I don't look in it often. And many times when I come to church, my aunt, my wife, or other ladies help finish dressing me. Because being bald, I don't look in the mirror. And they've fixed many things on me because I didn't know it was that way. Well, a proud look, I'm not going to know I'm having it. Therefore, I need you to point it out to me. Because God hates it. The next one on this list, a lying tongue. Don't let me get away with it. I'm lying, call me on it. Call each other on it. We need it because God hates it. Hands that shed innocent blood. I'm not talking about just murder, but just our gossip, our willingness to backbite and go on. We need help. God hates these things. And it is a life and death situation. If I knew that you had a very, very life and death allergy to mushrooms or nuts or something else, and I knew soup had some mushrooms in it, I wouldn't sit back and just watch this. If you fix me a piece of bread got nuts in it, I wouldn't sit back and just see what's going to happen. It's life and death. I'd tell you, hey, watch it. Yet, spiritually speaking, have you ever just watched somebody because you didn't hold them accountable? Have you ever ran somebody off and they tried to hold you accountable? God hates these things, and we need each other's help not to do them. But keep reading verse 20. My son, keep thy father's commandment, and forsake not the law of thy mother. Bind them continually upon thine heart, and tie them about thy neck. When thou goest, it shall lead thee. When thou sleepest, it shall keep thee. When thou awakest, it shall talk with thee. For the commandment is a lamp, and the law is light, and to prove instructions of the way of life, to keep thee from the evil woman, from the flattery of the tongue of a strange woman, lest not after her beauty and thine heart, neither let her take thee with her eyelids. For by means of a whorish woman a man is brought to a piece of bread, and an adulteress to a hunt for the precious life. Can a man take fire in his bosom, and his clothes not be burned? Can one go upon hot coals, his feet not be burned? He that goeth into his neighbor's wife, whosoever toucheth her shall not be innocent. Men do not despise a thief, if he steal to satisfy his soul when he is hungry. But if he be found, he shall restore sevenfold. He shall give all the substance of his house. And keeps going on. But as I read through here, verse 21 was binding these laws, these commandments, these teachings upon our heart, tying them about our neck. As I read through this man and woman thing, I hope we all pay attention to it, but mostly pay attention to come down to verse 27. Can a man take fire in his bosom and his clothes not be burned? Can one go upon his hot coals and his feet not be burned? That applies to all of us in many different ways, don't it? There's many ways that. Have you ever seen someone doing something you know they're going to get burned? And then you smile and laugh when they got burned, or you shook your head about, I can't believe you got burned. Well, where was you? When you could have been helping them. Have you ever been burned and you realize that someone tried to hold you accountable and you ran them off? You rejected their counsel? They tried to give you good advice. They tried to give you counsel. They tried to remind you of the teachings of God, yet you didn't want it because we need to be held accountable, but we don't want to be held accountable. It is something that many times we forget we need because we don't want. Oftentimes in life, what we need the most is things we don't want. Amen? So I want us to realize one of the things we need the most is accountability. And that is one of the biggest reasons we have in Assembly of God. That He created the church. Why He fitly compacts the church together. It's not just to come and pat each other on the back. Oh, you're doing so good. I'm so proud of you. I love you so much. And those are great words to say, and I'm glad that we share them. But yet love is expressed more ways than pats on the back. Love is expressed the most sincere when you're holding somebody accountable for their actions. When you say, you promised to serve God and you're not. You made a covenant with God, you're going to live for Him, and you need to straighten up. We need to be able to hear those words. We need to be able to say those. And we're not going to be able to hear them if we don't know that we need them. Proverbs 9. How wise are we? Apollos was a man instructed in the Word of God, fervent in spirit, bold in speech. Apollos was a wise man, and I can tell you that because of Proverbs 9:9. Give instruction to a wise man, and he will be yet wiser. Teach a man, just man, he will increase in learning. So what did the example of Apollos show? Apollos continued on beyond Ephesus, and he expounded the word of Christ even better, didn't he? He became even wiser. He became smarter. He became, verse 9, he received instruction, became wiser, and he increased in learning. Do we want to be held accountable to God? If we do, He's going to use the brethren to share with us. He's going to use the brethren to point things out. He's going to use each other. I want us to realize I need to be held accountable. If you want to lose weight, please, so much, you need to join a support group and hold each other accountable. You want to quit drinking, so join a support group where you have people hold you accountable that won't let you take the drink, that hold you against it. You want to stop smoking and stop dipping, join a support group that they can hold you accountable. The world has figured out if you want to stop a bad addiction, get in a support group and have someone hold you accountable for it. The world has proven this to be true. Where do you think you got the idea at? The church, sin is a bad addiction, amen? And the church is a support group to hold one another accountable to stop doing it. We are the original. The church is the original support group. It's the original support to hold one another accountable group. Yet as members today, we forget we need it, and we don't own it. We need it. In 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 12, we beseech you, brethren, to know them which labor among you, and are over you in the Lord, and admonish you. Has anybody took a pen to that verse yet? By our actions, we maybe should. I'm glad we haven't. But he's beseeching those brethren to know those that labor among us, know those that are laboring. It is work to hold someone accountable for their actions. Trust me, it's work to hold someone accountable. But it's even harder work to be held accountable. It's work to allow someone to hold you accountable. It's work to not follow the instinct of man and to keep secrets and to not let no one know what's in your life and to keep things private. It's work to go through, try to keep things from one another. But it's work. Know those that are laboring among us and are over you, Lord. What do you mean over me? No one's over me. Each and every one of us has others over us. Amen? Me as pastor, you as members, we're over each other. We are holding each other accountable. Esteem them very highly in love for the work's sake. Be at peace among yourself. Paul made statement a couple other times, one specific time, and he said, do I become your enemy? Because why? We know the verse good enough. Why did Paul say, no, I become your enemy because I tell you the truth. So we know the verse. Because have you ever got mad at someone because they told us the truth? Because they didn't accept what we said? And they said, no, this is the way? We need each other. We need to be held accountable. We need to esteem them highly. That works for us. They're at peace. We need to be considering each other highly. To be able to listen, to respect. Why? Why is that so important? Why is this so important? It's important to respect the person giving you advice, isn't it? It's important to respect the person that you're allowing to hold you accountable. Because I start off with, if you have a bad diagnosis, if your doctor tells you something really bad, and you're going to get a second opinion, you're going to find someone that is respectful. You're going to find someone that you hear about. You're going to find someone that you hope will have a connection with. You're going to ask, who do you see? Who do you know? You're going to find someone and hear good things. It is important to us to respect the person that we're allowing to have control over our well-being. It's important to be able to respect the person and to think highly of the person that you're putting your life in their hands. Spiritually speaking, we're putting our lives in each other's hands. Amen? So that's why we need to have love and respect and high esteem one for another. Because you spend all week long bad-mouthing me, you're not going to respect what I have to say from the pulpit. If you spend all week long bad-mouthing whoever sitting in the pew or who was not here about you, whoever it may be, you spend all your time looking down your nose and bad-mouthing them, not respecting them, and when God sends them to hold you accountable, when God sends them to teach you, as He sent Aquila and Priscilla to Apollos, if you don't have a high image of them, you're not going to pay attention to them. So we need to be sure we have a high image of each other, because at some point or another, each of you is going to have to hold me accountable to something. At some point or another, each of you is going to have me hold you accountable for something. At some point or another, each of you have to have each other hold you accountable. Again, it's a good, thick work group that God has. So we have to think highly one of another. Esteem them highly, myself and yourselves. Verse 14. Now we exhort you, brethren, warn them that are unruly. Comfort the feeble-minded. Support the weak. Be patient toward all men. Warn them that are unruly. How is that not holding them accountable? Warn them that are unruly. Say, hey, this is not the behavior that God would have for you to be doing. This is not the way God would have for you to be living. This is not what you should be doing, what you should be thinking, where you should be going, what you should be influencing yourself with, because the grace of God is defined as a divine influence upon your heart, the reflection of God in your life. And if you're allowing something other than God to influence you, you need to be told to stop it. If I'm allowing something other than God to influence me, I need to be told to stop it. We each and every one at times are unruly, amen? So we need to be warned. We need to be held accountable. Who are you allowing to hold you accountable? Let's close in Galatians 2. Who was it that dinner wasn't ready? It wasn't time to eat yet. He was in the way. So he went up on the rooftop and fell asleep while dinner was being prepared and had a dream about not calling things common. Who was that? Peter, right? What was that whole dream about? Go to Cornelius. Go to the Gentiles. So Peter was told to go to the Gentiles. And afterwards, what did Peter have to do on numerous occasions? He had to defend himself. Because the other churches and other Jews, they kind of had a problem with Peter. They had a problem with Peter going. And he had to defend himself on a couple of occasions. We find recorded about going to Cornelius, the Gentile. And in Galatians 2, verse 11, who was that did that? Peter. Verse 11 of Galatians 2, but when Peter was come to Antioch, I withstood him to the face because he was to blame. Now, Peter made a mistake. Peter made a big mistake because Paul's called him on the carpet. Paul's calling him out in front of everybody. What was his mistake? We know the verse. What's he fixing to get in trouble for? Was it on? Getting away from the Gentiles, verse 12. For before the certain came from James, he did eat with the Gentiles. Why was he eating with the Gentiles? God told him to on the rooftop. And that's what he was doing for a while. But all of a sudden, when certain ones came, but when they were come, he withdrew and separated himself, fearing them which were of the circumcision. And the other Jews disassembled likewise with him, insomuch that Barnabas also was carried away with their dissimulations. But when I saw that they walked not uprightly according to the truth of the gospel, I said unto Peter, before them all, if thou being a Jew livest after the manner of Gentiles, and not as do the Jews, why compellest thou the Gentiles to live as the Jews? We who are Jews by nature, and not sinners of the Gentiles, knowing that a man is not justified by the works of the law, but by the faith of Jesus Christ. Even we have believed in Jesus Christ, that we might be justified by the faith of Christ, and not by the works of the law, for by the works of the law shall no flesh be justified. And he goes on, but closing with this thought, can you not see Paul holding Peter accountable for what he himself had taught? Sometimes we need to be held accountable for our own teaching. We need to be held accountable for what we once do. We need to be renewed in our strength, in our word, in our wisdom. We need to go back to what we once knew. We need to hold each other accountable. Paul was bold, spoke right to Peter's face, for everybody, held him accountable. What happened afterward? I think Peter straightened up. But what happens to us when someone tries to hold us accountable? It don't go well sometimes. We prepare for the song. I want us to consider accountability this evening. How much do you know that you need to be held accountable? What do you mean when you think, I just need to get away from this place? I just need to get away for a while. I don't need you looking over my shoulder. I don't need you watching me. No, I need you watching me. I need you holding me accountable. I hope you realize you need it as well, even though you don't want it. Understand the same number 267. 267.
Clinging, clinging, clinging,
everyone's attendance. It's always a blessing and encouragement to me. I hope we pay attention to the Spirit of God at all times, and let's pay attention to each other and allow each other to hold ourselves accountable to God. I am accountable to you. Any prayer question announcements anybody may have?
We would like for you to continue to pray for us as we stay on our journey and that including she'll be going the opposite way.
Remember this and all those others traveling from hurricanes, Carol's mentioning. Any other? I've got a text from Gary Hagan that said that they was going to be leaving, trying to get away to come up here, run this far. So I don't run that far. I was thinking, if you're going to run, might as well.
I don't even run to my house, and I'm closer than you are.
You're not home.
You might be running into that tough.
Yeah. I do remember all those. Anything else anybody may have? If not, let's pray for her, brethren, upon our heart. And Gary, assistant prayer, please.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for your word. Thank you for the blessing you give us to be privileged to come here this evening to look into your word and sing songs of praise unto you. We pray you search our hearts, Father. Help us serve you with all of our hearts. Give you glory and honor in our life. Help us to love one another as you've loved us. Help each other in our walk with you. Please, Lord, help us that we might be committed wholly to you, that our sole purpose here in this world and the rest of the life that you give us will be to serve you and to help one another and to be a light in this world. Pray you grant us this, lead us and guide us, grant us your wisdom, your patience, and your love. Just help us to serve you with all of our being. We pray this in Jesus' holy name. Amen.